Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 22nd of December. So, in the last couple of days, just before Christmas, then what we've got in store, the euro dollar looks like, well, yesterday I was mentioning the sort of upper trend that's there on the intermediate time frame, higher lows, higher highs on the hourlies. That seems to be prevailing a little bit more, continuing of course, having corrections, but still all the same, managing to get back up, putting a new high here. Now we've got an untouched daily pivot below, so it does start pulling through. There is a lower trend line here that leaves me on the more bearish side. Obviously, it's more confirmed when it's gone through those 21s. It has hit the 21s before, so it may not give quite the same support. So just watching for this sort of level to see if we get a break down, back down towards the daily pivot. If we do manage to hold on and it starts reversing, then upside targets I was looking at, we still got the weekly pivot above us. That 4 hourly 50 weekly pivot sort of area would certainly be a draw for me. It's broken through the 34, which I talked about yesterday. Managed to get through that now, closed above it, and now pushing on. So preference is to the upside because this is where the momentum is at the moment. It's it has still got that daily 8 to contend with. Actually, it's not much further than up where price is at the moment at 104.62 sort of area. So we've got to bear that in mind. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see. But at the moment, this current candle, it's pointing in for leaving a bit of a bearish candle into 8 o'clock. But cable. Cable's consolidated yesterday, tight range inside the previous day's range there. It had the similar sort of beginnings yesterday in terms of high lows, high highs, and then it's just consolidated and tightened up within there. So it's a little bit more tighter, a bit more easy maybe to follow on a breakout because we're not we're sitting on the 21s. We haven't got them to contend with if it does start moving in either direction here. So we've got a sort of a more open game to play, and I like that. We haven't got to, if it starts breaking to the downside, we haven't got to worry about the moving average getting in the way. But that said, it's shown that it's been choppy. It may continue to remain relatively choppy. So hopefully, if it breaks, we'll get a decent move and coming at will follow the signs of the break. Preference again here is the upside, purely on the basis of the higher lows that are through there, but we also have got lower highs in this shorter period. So we've had the longer period of higher highs and higher lows, but more recently we're in this wedge. So I just really need to see how it breaks this morning. Dollar yen. Dollar yen at the moment is really shaping up to continue to the upside in quite a lot of respects. It's but again, it could end up putting a bearish 4 hourly in here, which may change the pattern. But it's for me, it's more difficult to trade at the moment. Momentum is really negative to a degree on the bigger time frames there, but more positive as you go through the shorter time frames. And looking at this, it would suggest that normally when you've got a big flagpole here, it's broken the pole. It's almost like it want to continue pushing up towards the daily R1. Aussie just cannot hold on to any gains. It's weak each time it manages to push up onto anything. Off its back south again. Although that's shown positive momentum on the 4 hourly here, you'd hardly say that was a positive move. It's certainly at the moment looking like it would be easier for the downside. Got very small in terms in the way of the pivot targets, short term R1, S1 so pinched together. So we could see these broken and maybe it coming right the way back for this monthly R1, S1, beg your pardon, weekly S1. Both together here, maybe a reasonable short term downside target. Of course, that is assuming it's going to push to the downside. Before I look at Canadian dollar, let's just have a quick look at what price of oil's done. Yeah, it continued rolling over with the stocks yesterday. It's pretty much filled this gap that was put in on is that Wednesday morning, Tuesday morning. It's pretty much filled that gap that I've got on there now. Maybe we'll see that continue to get filled. Okay, Canadian dollar then. The bigger picture here. And we do have news out at 1:30 on the Canadian dollar. We've got some retail sales coming out at 1:30 and inflation. So might get a bit of volatility. They're not tradable moves. They're just tiny moves generally, but you never know in a day like this. Looking at where we are, well, it's looking more to the upside than anything else. Momentum clicking over positively to the upside, although would say about the momentum there, you've got a bit of divergence going on with these highs here, so could easily switch back south. Looking from where we are here, daily pivot untouched below, which would have a reasonable probability of being hit. But as I say, at the moment, it looks like it almost wants to push on beyond, maybe into yesterday's highs and through the R1, etc. It's certainly looking more to the long side than anything at the moment, but not necessarily the greatest potential in terms of profit yet. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. Other news out today. We've got the US data coming out at the same time as the Canadian data, so that will obviously create some mess on the Canadian dollar. We've got the GDP coming out, final GDP in the US. It's generally, the beans are a bit easier to count when they've had 3 attempts, so that should be okay. It may not give a lot of movement. Usual weekly unemployment claims, not expecting much from there. That's pretty much it. So that's today. Have a great one. Bye for now.